Ah, very good. Very good. Hey, y'all. Shalom. Oh, that cord's in the way. It's in the way of the camera. Whatever. 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 Ugh. So, I know. It's been a minute since we've done a truck video. Yeah, truck video. Not gonna lie, I've been very unmotivated to do the YouTube thing this last week. It's been a rough week. I didn't do the scripture, the Torah portion, which I'm probably gonna have to slam do tomorrow because I want to try to stay on track with that. But I don't know. This video is more of like a just kind of general update. I think I'm gonna call this video having faith through the struggle. If that kind of tells you how this video is gonna go. So don't mind if I do. And if you don't want to hear the woe is me, then maybe another video. Actually, it's not gonna be a woe is me. It's just gonna be my thoughts on some things. So let's just rewind about a week and a half. So a week and a half ago, last Thursday. Yeah. No. That's 2 weeks. Because last Thursday I was not. Okay. 2 weeks ago. So 2 Thursdays ago, I had to have a tooth pulled. This one back here in my mouth. It had broken a while back. After I stupidly bit down on a Dum Dum Pop. You know, my kids, they bring home candy for school, and it was, you know, a Dum Dum Pop, and I was just like, oh hey, you know, like I was, you know, this happened a long time ago. This happened like a year, whatever. Anyways, I cracked my tooth. It hurt a lot. It was very painful. Then the tooth died, and then the tooth broke, and I just have this thing with dentists. I don't want to call it really a fear of dentists or anything. It's just like I have this thing where I don't really want to mess with dentists. I don't like going because, let's just say I had an experience with a dentist in my early 20s, which made me never want to see another dentist ever again. Little cavity, they said. In and out, no problem, they said. Worst month of my life, I say. Literally the worst month of my life. The most pain I've ever been in my entire life. And unrelenting, unceasing, make you want to freaking blow your head off pain. I was actually like this close to doing the whole Castaway thing, you know, with the ice skate and the tooth, like, Wilson! You know. It was that bad. And the crazy thing was this, like, so they drilled a cavity on back molar, very back in the back. I don't know what number that is, but the last molar back there. Drilled a cavity. Actually, no, my bad. They drilled a cavity on the tooth right in front of it, I believe it was. I think, yeah. And then because they did that, the back molar somehow got disturbed or something happened, and basically, like, I needed a root canal. But the dentist that I had gone to, he had been my family dentist for forever. I'm not going to name drop because, you know, whatever. But since I was a kid, we've been going there. And he was like looking at x-rays. They took a bunch of x-rays. He was like, I don't see anything wrong. I'm like, there's nothing wrong. Maybe, you know, he thought I was like making it up. Like, he's like, oh, it can hurt for a little while after. It's like, it was severe, throbbing, hot needle in my gum, kind of severe pain. Like, the kind of pain that just makes your life miserable. Like, couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Good God, if I got near anything even cold, stabbing, like, white hot pain, like someone was just taking a freaking one of those little dental picks and just stabbing it in my gum. You know, like some of the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. And, you know, like, Granted, I've never been shot, never been stabbed, never been blown up, but on the scale of pain that I felt in my entire life, that up there, the top. And so after like 3 weeks of this debacle where I'm literally popping ibuprofen like it's candy, which you're not supposed to do, by the way, I messed up my gut. Yeah, that was another story too. Had a stomach ulcer because of it, because I was literally popping ibuprofen like it was candy. Trying to, and I probably damaged my liver in that episode as well. Hopefully in a couple of years I don't find out that I have severe liver. I don't know. It's one of the things I've just been like, yeah. I mean, I don't drink and I don't smoke, so hopefully my liver is repaired itself from that. I don't know. But yeah, I was begging them to do something about it. I said, pull the tooth. Pull the freaking tooth. Like, I want it out of my skull. It hurts so bad. I was considering doing it myself. Like, with a pair of pliers or something. The thought often crossed my mind towards the end there. Finally, he sent me over to another guy after I had come in for like the 15th time and been like, this really sucks. I'm in so much pain. You've got to do something. He finally gave up and sent me to another guy, and the other guy took one look at, he took an x-ray, took one look and said, oh, dude, you need a root canal, like really bad. Like, it's bad. It was like, how come the other dentist didn't? And I honestly, my opinion was he didn't want to admit that he messed something up, which caused this. And so he just kept saying, oh, I can't see anything. So anyways, long story short, had a root canal. Well, for whatever reason, the tooth back here cracked. Like, I guess I didn't get it capped or whatever. I don't know. They filled it. I don't remember what they did, but it was so long ago. And over time, basically it happened it kind of happened all at once. Last year, after it had been like 5 or 6 years or something, I guess the cap fell off. And because I distinctly remember one time I was chewing on something and I felt something that didn't feel like what the food I was eating, and I came out, I was like, oh, that looks like a piece of a tooth. And my stupid me was like, oh, I should probably go get that looked at. But I thought maybe it was just like, whatever. I didn't think about it. And then eventually the tooth back here kind of pitted and cracked, which was no fun. But it didn't hurt because, there's no nerves there, so whatever, right? So anyways, sucks. Broke this tooth, bit down a dum-dum, and again, long story short, knew it had to come out, didn't really want to have it come out, but 2 weeks ago it decided it's coming out. Like, it said on its own, like, I'm going, bye-bye, vacation, adios, see you, because I had a massive infection. Like, my whole cheek was swollen up like a chipmunk. Like, one day I was perfectly fine. I went to bed and I woke up and it was swollen and it hurt, and I was like, of course, I was trying to drive back from somewhere I was at. I was 3 hours away from home. Had to call in, basically be like, hey, I'm gonna make it back, but I'm gonna have to go directly to the dentist and get this taken care of. And when I walked in, they were like, oh yeah, you should go get that taken care of, because my whole face was swelled up. The dentist took the tooth out. That was a fun experience. Fun story. Lidocaine, or whatever they use to numb your mouth, if there's an infection, it's not as effective, because the infection counteracts the numbing. So usually when they stick a needle in your mouth with that stuff, they kind of squirt it as they're sticking it in, so your mouth numbs pretty quick. Like, no, I felt all of that. It was suck, very suck. Like, involuntary tears down your face, kind of holding your head as still as you can, because you can't jerk your head, and the reaction is like pull away, but you're like, nope, gotta hold my head right here, because I don't want to pull away when he's got a needle in my mouth. So yeah, that was suck. But they removed the tooth. I still have to have this back tooth removed at some point. But yeah, that was kind of the start. And then literally right after that happened, I had to leave Saturday. So that happened Thursday. Had to leave Saturday. Well, well, I technically left Sunday. I had to leave Sunday to go to Wisconsin, Green Bay, so I could do training. And, you know, did the training. I'm officially a TE now. Got the hat. They gave me a hat. It says Schneider. Yeah, training engineer. If you guys haven't picked up, I work for Schneider. So starting this Sunday, I'm going to have a newbie truck driver, like literally a brand new baby truck driver, cat driver, on board, and I'm going to start teaching him the finer points of safety and training, which really is my goal. I know people are like, oh, truck drivers, oh, you know, like there's a bad, I guess over the last couple decades, truck drivers have just got a bad rap. My goal is to make sure that we have safe truck drivers, that I feel safe releasing them into the wild with my family sharing the same highway as them. I've always kind of had the heart of a teacher, so I figure, you know, this is a good opportunity for me to continue not only my education in the ways of trucking, but also, you know, just to have that heart of a teacher and to help, you know, people learn the ropes the way I wish someone had taught me. And so yeah, there's that, and I hope it goes well. I'm not gonna lie, part of it is also for money. My salary will literally double almost with this opportunity. So, and right now we need all the money we can get. But going back to the main point, you know, that was great. It was freezing cold, like freaking that huge winter storm came through, negative 40-degree wind chills, and we had to be outside. Like, I was frozen. I've never had my beard flash freeze before, but yeah, that was a fun experience. I literally, the day I left was the coldest day. We weren't going outside with students. The day before it had been like negative 16 or 17, but the next day, it was that Friday, freaking, it was like negative 32 to 40 degrees wind chill. It was like negative 15-degree temperature, negative like 40-degree wind chill. It was bad. And I walked outside to go to the car to leave, and my beard literally froze. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, it was solid. Like, I could press on it and it crinkled, and I was like, oh god, is it gonna like break? Like the hair is gonna break off or stuff? Like, I don't know. But my beard literally froze, and it was miserable. And then I drove home, freaking, you know, 12 hours. Like, well, it was like 11 hours. I drove home like an 11-hour straight drive. Made it back home sometime around it was close to midnight. It was like 11:40 or something like that. Made it back home. You know, talked with the wife a little bit. We went to bed, and woke up at like 4 in the morning to silence and really freezing cold temperature. Yeah, so we live in a camper, and apparently that night, our either the heaters drew too much power trying to keep the camper warm, or we just had a failure. Whatever happened, it blew the box, the junction box that we hook up our 30 amp to, the camper's 30 amp cord. Now, we had a good surge protector, and I think the surge protector saved us, because it definitely melted at the surge protector, not, thank God, not at our breaker in the camper or anything like that. We didn't have any. So, but long story short, it was 4 in the morning. It was snowing pretty heavily, and we lost all power for, at least we must have been asleep. We must have lost power for at least an hour before we woke up, because it got pretty cold pretty fast. I don't know, but it was just, it's eerie when you're used to hearing like fans and stuff, like, you know, the furnace fans and stuff going, and all of a sudden you wake up and it's just dead silent. And I kind of had a mini panic attack, because I thought the entire campsite had gone without power, because they were predicting, you know, like, we could lose power. Anyways, due to us losing power, we also lost our water, because our pipes burst, because it froze. Yeah, the underheater went out, and so everything froze. because it was pretty cold. I think it was like 4 degrees. And so we lost our camper now does not have water, which really sucks. We have 3 kids, and my wife, she's a saint. She's been having to deal with that, basically having to take the kids to the campsite outhouse, which is, it's a nice facility. It's got showers and toilets and everything, and it's heated. So, but if the kids have to go to the bathroom because our black tank froze and our gray tank froze, because again, no underheater, and we have no water, so we can't really flush them out. Like, yeah, we could dry drain them, but we just decided we're not going to use the bathrooms there because, again, it's not ideal without having running water to rinse them out. So we're just taking the kids to the bathroom at the outhouse, and we have to go to the bathroom at the outhouse, and it's just like, nothing is more awesome than freaking waking up at 3 a.m. having to use the restroom and having to walk 100 yards in freezing weather just to be it's just wonderful. So yeah, struggle. It's been rough. It's been a rough week. I'm not a person who's prone to depression or anything like that, but I just sometimes I question, I wonder why can't we, why do all these things kind of have to happen? Because it's not just that. Also we had some car issues. Our hatch, our back, we have an SUV. It's a Nissan Armada. The back hatch, for the trunk area that we load all of our groceries in, because everything was so cold and it's an older Armada, I think the lock froze, and so I was trying to open it and I thought I heard it click open, so I pulled the handle, and of course, because it was so cold, the handle just broke, just snapped right off. I was just like, there may have been some choice words screamed at the sky, but it's like, great, so now we don't have access to our trunk space unless we push stuff through the back seat, which is just spectacular because we've got car seats and everything in the way because the kids, they're all in car seats. So we can't really cook, we can't really clean. We have to go use the restroom at the outhouse, which is not ideal, and we are limited in the amount of stuff we can move around in our car right now because I'm just like, why, yeah? Why? During the coldest part of the season, why? And it just kind of struck me earlier. It's just like, if everything was easy, then what would there be a need for faith? Why would we need to have faith? Why would there be a need to have faith if things were easy? So, I've said this before personally with my wife. I said, I don't know what Yah's plan is for us. Buying this land in Oklahoma, trying to save this money to build a house on it, with the timelines that I'm kind of constantly tracking, because I have this constant feeling that we've waited too long, that we don't have enough time. And people are like, well, what do you mean you don't have enough time? It's like, well, you looked around what's going on in the world and everything, and I'm not like a doomsdayer kind of person, but there's some big things. The magnetic inversion of the poles, if you've been tracking that, the possible civil war in our country, if you've been tracking that, there's the general war, the restructuring of the global superpowers, I try not to get all twisted in the axles around it, because ultimately I know I can't control any of that, but it's a lot. And I feel a lot of time like I've failed. I haven't made the right decisions or made them soon enough, or there's a lot of weight resting on my shoulders, and I feel like every time I step forward, I get thrown back. And I just I'm not trying to say oh, woe is me, because there's people who have it a lot worse than we do. There's literally people who are starving to death right now. There's people who are being persecuted right now. I mean, when it comes to biblical characters, I don't even suffer nearly as much as, Lot, losing all he had, basically, only getting out of there with his 2 daughters. and watching all he had basically burned to the ground, or like Job, Job. I get that we're not, in the grand scheme of things, like, we're very blessed. Very blessed. Things could be a lot worse. But at the same time, like, in my world, I do feel like, we're dealing with the struggle right now. Like, I'm getting lit up. There's someone getting ready to leave, so they're doing their light test for their truck. So that bright flash is their utility lights flashing me. But yeah, so I just have to remind myself that we have to have faith in these times, and we have to be able to ask Dad for help. To be able to ask Yah to succor us and get us through our challenges, our daily struggles. It's tough. It's very tough. I don't know what it was, but like last week when all this stuff was going on, and into this week, I feel like I've just been personally attacked. The demons that I have running around in my sphere have been trying to hit me with all the arrows. Because we all have our issues, right? We all have our issues. I praise Yah that I'm not prone to, some of the worst issues out there, but I'm a guy. When I was up in Green Bay by myself, there were some pretty heavy temptations that I had to deal with. Just, I'm not perfect. And I've talked to my wife about this. I hate how I feel like I can't, if I give myself an inch, like, the bad side of me wants to run a mile. And it's just one of those things that I struggle with, And I hate that sometimes I question my faith. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel like my faith isn't strong enough. I feel like after all I've been through, that I've failed. Which, I know is not true. I know I could be better. I know we could make better decisions. We're probably going to have to leave the camper situation. We're looking at a small house to rent right now, just because right now it's just untenable. We're not going to thaw out here for at least another 2 or 3 weeks, and I can't have the kids living in a camper with no running water. Like, people are going to think that we're abusing our children. It's ridiculous. Like, so I finally was like, okay, go find a house that we can rent on the quick. We found one, so hopefully that all pulls through for us. But anyways, I guess I just wanted to say that when you're dealing with life, as you do, you have to count your blessings. I am supremely blessed. Our family is blessed that we have what we have, and that I'm about to actually almost double my income, through the opportunities that I've been given. And so even though sometimes I feel like it's one step forward, 2 steps back, I have to remember that in the big picture of things, we are actually very blessed. And I hope, if you're listening to this, that you can look at your life and look at the blessings that you do have compared to your perceived failings or perceived curses, and kind of look at the scale and say, well, actually, we are pretty blessed, all things considered. But it's tough. It is tough sometimes to look past your immediate, circle and go, actually, we don't have it that bad. It could be worse. It could be worse. So, like I said, I don't know what y'all's plan is for us right now. I know that Yah willing, we'll be where we want to be in the next year, which is on our property, and doing the things that we need to do, which is raising food and becoming very self-sufficient. But how we get there and how that happens, I'm not sure yet. Like, we still got to save a bunch of money for a down payment on a build loan. Like we have to go, we can't use Corinne's VA loan, so we're going to have to go a more traditional, build loan amount. And we may not build the biggest house. Like my plan is to build a starter home and then eventually build a bigger home, and that starter home can become either one of the kids' homes, or it could become a guest house, or I've got other ideas. But my other thing is I'd like to really start focusing on getting community together, like actually working with other people and building out that community that we're going to need for the times ahead, because I'm very, very aware that the way things are right now are not going to be the same. And I plead with you, if you listen to this, understand that things are going to change radically. And I really hope we have more time than what I think. But again, there's no point in worrying about that stuff. You can't do anything about it. So the only thing you can do is just work with what you got, with where you're at, and pray to the Father that things will be beneficial or be helpful to you. Ah, man, that utility light is bright. It's like, Mine is too, though. It's a good thing, because sometimes we need a bright light to see behind us and it's dark outside. Alright, well, this video went a lot longer than I thought it was going to go, so hey, have faith through the struggle, my friends. Have faith through the struggle. Shalom.